Learning in the military, it's just, everything's a problem. We're just professional problem solvers. That's kind of what being an entrepreneur is. Everybody wants the best knife possible to come out of here.
A former Army Special Operations soldier, Chris, like so many who serve in elite ranks, battled loss of identity and purpose when he transitioned to civilian life. On came a new mission. He founded Stroup Knives, an American-made, family-run company dedicated to building rugged, high-quality blades for hard use. I sat down with Chris from his shop in Fayetteville, North Carolina to learn just how he started Stroup Knives, why every part of the process is done in-house, and how his military values of precision, discipline, and purpose now shape every product he makes. We talked about his commitment to quality over quantity, employing veterans and his family, and his newest creation, the Green Beret Dagger, a modern descendant of the Yarborough, designed to once again be fielded as a symbol of elite service and brotherhood.
Chris, welcome to the Jedburgh podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for having us in the shop. I mean, this place is pretty impressive. There's like multiple buildings. I mean, we're here in what appears to be the final production area because I know you already took us through a tour of the other side. We're going to go back and look again. But there are a lot of knives in these buildings.
Knives. I would hope so.
Being a knife company and all.
This is the building we call corporate.
Ah, yes. It's very formal in
It's
this.
very formal, pinky up, you know?
We're going to talk all about Stroup Knives. We're going to talk about your journey in the Army, post-Army transition. But before we get to any of that, we got to talk about the partnership with the Green Beret Foundation, because for a very long time, for decades, when you graduate the Special Forces Qualification Course, you are given a knife, and that knife was the Yarborough knife. And about 9 or 10 years ago, the decision was made to no longer field that knife to everybody who graduates the course. Big source of discussion, argument, valid arguments on all sides when you look at why that process and that practice stopped. But over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of discussion about how are we going to get that back? How are we going to take these guys that we invest millions of dollars into their assessment and their development, how do we recruit them and then actually train them to be Green Berets and put something in their hands that binds and bonds them together that they can carry forward with them? And you have answered that call, you and your team, and have developed the Green Beret knife in conjunction with the Green Beret Foundation. So talk for a minute about, and by the way, this one right here, 202, might be coming with me because this was my Ranger School roster number. And so I'm not sure I could, in good faith, leave this behind. So talk about the knife. Let's talk about the partnership with Green Beret Foundation and why'd you answer the call on this one?
Yeah, so first, it's a huge honor to be able to do this. I mean, when I started this knife company, who would have ever imagined this is where it would lead? We get to make knives for the most elite. It is freaking cool, So it's a huge honor. Our friend Doug, who's still in the Army, so we'll just call him Doug, came up to me with this idea at a dinner randomly. I didn't even know him at the time. Hey, would you be willing to make a dagger for everybody that graduates the Q course? Well, yeah, of course, but I don't know you. And then he came up to me at SHOT Show and said, hey, I talked to the Green Beret Foundation.
Yeah, he talked to me.
Oh, really?
He did. Shortcut, right?
Doug, he's got a mustache.
Yeah. He came and talked to Jenna and I. And then we passed him off to Charlie.
Yeah, so it all happened. It seemed like one of those things, such a far off giant idea. Hey, will you make these for every Green Beret? Well, heck yeah, I would. Who wouldn't? And then it happened. It was like almost a fairy tale to me,
And it wasn't that long ago, because when we think about when it was SHOT Show was in January, the end of January.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here now, almost the end of May. And, here it is. It's in production. The first class, regimental first formation, was last week, and these got fielded to the whole class. And now, we got a whole bunch over here in the shop, and, you got people producing hundreds more, getting ready for the next graduating class. But talk about the knife. Let's talk about the construct and the design of it. And, why is it a dagger?
So we wanted to go with similar to what's in the crest and the heritage behind that. So naturally a dagger. It's also a great combat knife. It's a slim package. It's really secure. So this can get put on your vest, on your battle belt, anywhere you can tuck it. So it's a perfect addition for your combat kit. But it's also got the heritage and the kind of the shape of what's in the crest. That's why we went with this profile. We wanted our modern take on this. So it's Cerakoted to prevent corrosion and rust, and it looks cool. And then we went,
It looks sick.
yeah, it was
amazing.
cool. It's just fun. You hold this thing, you're like, man, this is cool. So everybody's some of the generals had input on this. We made some prototypes, and everybody had a little bit of input, and this is what we came up with. And then the Kydex sheath, because of the retention and all the different mounting options. There's so many different belt clips and attachments you can mount on here, or just zip tie it or Velcro it. So we wanted something with all of the flexibility and things that you would want to be able to mount it for combat.
Well, understanding where special forces comes from is something that's inherently in your nature. So you spent 11 years in the Army. Most of that, well, really, the majority of that time being in special operations unit. So you spent time in the 160th, and then you spent time over there, across the field, across Bragg in Delta, supporting operations over there. So talk for a minute about why'd you want to go in the Army, and why choose the route that you did in special operations?
So I was doing construction, and I was young, and I was already in charge of the construction teams. But this is boring. I just go to different houses and do kind of the same thing. Let's go find something hard. So I joined the Army. I went to a Cav Scout unit. It wasn't hard. Like, there's got to be something cooler or I'm going to get out. And I wasn't eligible yet to go to the unit. So I was still too junior. So I applied for 160th and went there. And that was just so cool, working with all of the different units and traveling everywhere. But then that got kind of boring, because all I did was go to a hangar, set up a talk, coordinate all the communications. But then when they were doing operations, I was in the talk, or not even, because I wasn't the one talking on the radios. So then as soon as I could, I applied to go to the unit, and that was challenging. That's what I was looking for, working with the best there is. Every day I was, just trying to keep up. Everybody wanted to be there. It was so cool.
When we look at elite performance, we always put our special operators at the top of the list when we look at the military. But even when you look at professional athletes and Olympic athletes, they have a mindset, and they have I'm thinking about this because you said you were a Cav Scout and it wasn't hard, and you wanted to chase the thing that was hard. When you look back at that decision and you think about the things that drive you, that make you want to go and be elite, how do you develop that mentality? And then how do you maintain it over a long time?
You develop that. I guess you just do it. I hate the guy next to me is better than me. I got to keep up with him. He's having fun. This is fun. But I have to be really good at what I do to do the fun things. I guess I always believe in just doing the best that you can at everything. That's what I tell my kids to do. That was a big choice for when I applied to go to the unit also, was my kids. If I'm telling my kids they have to do the best that they can, I have to. So I can't tell them to do their best. So I'm like, they used to tell me that I was the big fish in a little pond. Like, I aced the fitness test. Everything was not that challenging. So if I'm telling my kids to go do something hard, I had to go do something hard. And it was definitely hard.
Why'd you get out?
I got hurt. This knee has a giant hole in the cartilage, like about that big. This knee has a chronically torn meniscus, and because of that, you can imagine it messes up your hips and ankles and shoulders somehow, and back. So I couldn't run anymore. I couldn't put on kit like an idiot. They offered me admin positions. I'm like, you can't lock me in an office for 10 years. We're going to drive each other nuts. So it was time. It was probably one of the hardest choices I ever made. I was also going through a nasty divorce while making that choice. So it was just kind of like all of my life changing at once. But I just went for it. And it worked out. Now we have this amazing business. My wife is really cool. My kids are awesome. So I'm pretty stoked with how everything's going.
Well, let's talk about that transition process. We talk about doing hard things. And absolutely, you're serving in special operations, by far one of the hardest things all of us who serve in the community have gone through. And I put these things at my list is kind of like, rowing, being a collegiate rower physically, and mentally, really a lot, probably the most hardest thing I've ever done, prepared me extremely well for going to ranger school, going to special forces qualification course, understanding that you have to embrace the suck, and it's nothing's as bad as a 2,000-meter race in rowing, so you can kind of just grit and bear it when you're cold, you're tired, you're wet, you're hungry. um but then there's transition.
Mm.
And often when I look back at my career, I'm like, yeah, that was hard. But transition was hard in a lot of ways that I never expected it to be. Talk about your transition process, and when you were getting out and you're trying to now figure out, what do I want to be when I grow up? How do you go from serving at that elite level, to making the decision to come out and then saying, I'm going to go build a knife company?
So I got out during COVID, which made everything a million times harder. My last day in the Army, I went, I met down in the human resources troop. I think it was like 7:30 in the morning. Okay, sign your leave form. Okay, I signed my leave form, and then I handed in my badge, and they escorted me out of the building. That was my goodbye ceremony. I didn't get to say bye to anybody. Nobody even knew I left. It was just, that's it. Wow, 11 years in the Army, and that's how it ends. So I don't even have one of my plaques. I think my troop sergeant major is actually coming tomorrow. I got out in 2021, I think, 2020, 2021. It's been years, and I still don't have my gift. There was no ceremony. It was just in the Army, out of the Army. So that was rough. And then all the crazy stuff was going on in Afghanistan. And I'm like, man, I got friends over there, and I'm stuck here. So that was a little hard to get through. But then we started this knife company, and we started hiring veterans and supporting our community. So being able to have a lot of like-minded people here and help them through all of that has been really cool. Like the three guys that help run the production of the shop, John, Mikey, and Roy, they were all interns as they transitioned out. So for their last 6 to 8 months, they were in the Army, but coming here, which was really cool because they didn't have to go to PT or put up with any of the nonsense. So they got to slowly figure out how to be a normal human again. And then we hired them, which was the best. But we gave them a place to land, a place to be part of a team again. So I think that's really what we're trying to build here, is just a place to build a community. Hey, you're not in the Army anymore? Cool. Now you're part of our family. So we do things. Last Friday, we took our whole shop for the whole day out to a range. So we had this whole range complex, and we all spread out, and we shot all the, long range, short range, pistol. And it was just great. And it's team building, but it's a lot more than just making knives. We're building a community here.
Yeah. And how many people do you have working in the company now?
We have about 20.
That's not a small company.
We're trying to hire more. We can't keep up.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I mean, who would have thought this would have happened a couple of years ago?
Did you know anything about knives?
YouTube does. My oldest son, I think he was 7. I just wanted a hobby. Like, I need something to do with my free time. So we started making knives. We just got like a little piece of steel off the internet and some hand tools. My ex-wife told me I was an idiot. She's like, you'll never be any good at this. No, I'm going to try anyways. Why not? And we just, literally just a file. Started filing a piece of metal. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then we made a few more, and they started looking and functioning like real knives. And we took them into the team room, and guys bought them faster than I can make them. Man, there's something to this. This is fun. Making something cool, and I could do it with my family. It's about as cool as it gets,
Well, your family's involved in the business. And one of the first things you said to me when we showed up here was that your sons and your daughter are fully involved in the business. They have to work here a certain amount of hours every day. They get paid. They're on the payroll. Some of that money gets invested, and you're really spending a lot of time developing a work ethic in them. Why is having the family involved in the business so important to you?
I think a lot of it is when I was in the Army, I was gone all the time. You know how it is. We're never home. So now I have this chance to be around my kids all the time and my wife. So normally when we travel, we all go together. So I never have to be away from them, which is really cool. And they're learning all of these skills. They can stand at a trade show booth and talk to 1,000 grown-ups in a day and hold conversations and eloquently talk about our knives and all the processes, and they know the prices, and they can negotiate pricing, and they can walk around the show floor and haggle with people. Hey, I got this thing. I want that thing. You want to trade? Oh, and they go back and forth, and it's just the coolest thing in the world to see. And they can walk around the shop and work with grown-ups. I see so many kids. We see them here sometimes. They come to try and work here, and they can't put their phone down. They're like, "Ooh, what's on my phone?" Like, "It's time to work, man. Like, let's go." So we're trying to teach our kids just here's all the tools to create whatever life you want. So they're on the payroll, and at least 70% of their paycheck goes to our investment accounts. Can you imagine being a 10-year-old and already having an investment account going by the time you're our age? You'd be filthy rich. But we're trying to build those good habits from the beginning. That way you don't have to break bad habits. You start with good ones. But they work 2 hours a day. They want to work more. We don't let them work over a certain amount of hours a day because they would work here all day because they find tasks they like doing and they like being here. But we tell them to go be kids.
Yeah.
Go beat each other up on the jiu-jitsu mats in the garage, or they like to dry fire. We have one of those Ace virtual trainers. Those things are really cool. Go draw, do kid things, but they're learning photography and how to run a business, how to deal with people. So it's just super cool having them here as a part of all of this.
And they're, as you said, well-versed in the business. As we were setting up here, we're talking to them, and they can talk about every aspect of the production cycle, and why that happens. And, it was really amazing to see, how much detail they actually knew about the whole process, and how involved they are and truly excited to do so.
Oh yeah. Honestly, it's so cool that they're interested in it. Because if they didn't want to work, I wouldn't force them to, but they want to. So that's really cool to me. But they know how to do almost everything. They can't run the CNC machine for the handles, but they can sharpen knives, and they can probably do between them 80% of a knife. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's impressive. How hard is entrepreneurism?
I don't know. It depends. Ask me in an hour. Ask me an hour ago.
I mean, I live it every day. It's true. I mean, we're laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you're like, I run the best business in the world. By lunch, you're poor, you got to shut it down, and then by dinner again, we're crushing it, and we're going to take this thing to the next level.
Yeah, that's about it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. There's always a new challenge, a new thing to learn. That's what I like about it. Or I finally got this invoicing system to work. Now I got to figure out how the next thing works. And oh, that did not work. Let's retry that. Dealing with people's really hard. It's not like in the Army, you can fire people. It took me a while to learn that. You don't have to give them a million chances. So I guess just learning how to navigate people and how to build a team. Right now, every person on our team is amazing. We have a really strict interview process, and we're really strict about our culture, and you have to fit in with the people. We can teach you how to make a knife, but I can't teach you how to be a good human and fit in with our team, because we've learned the hard way. It just takes one person to really ruin the whole culture. And that's a nightmare. So, yeah.
I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, people are the most challenging thing we do every single day, not only as leaders, but certainly as entrepreneurs and as business owners. And, often, I mean, almost every day, I got to get up between 3:30 and 5 in the morning, because that's the time until about 7 when the kids start getting up, where it's kind of protected time where I can actually get my work done. Because once the kids get up, and I got 3, you got 4, so you get 25% more problems than I do. But it's a lot of problems once that gets going. And then you got to worry about running the business. But once everyone starts showing up in the business, well, now you're in people management, and your ability to actually kind of do your thing starts to become more and more difficult throughout the day. And often what happens to me is, it'll be 7 o'clock. Even last night, we got here into Fayetteville at about 9:30, and I was still doing the thing that I was doing at 3:15 in the morning, because I had dealt with so many other things that came up during the day. And what I think is really important for special operators to know when they are preparing to transition is that you are well suited as a special operator to run a business. And it doesn't mean though that you've got to have some great idea and you got to go, be the next Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk and come up with some idea that nobody's ever heard of. I mean, you're making knives. Knives have been around for thousands of years.
Yep.
When we used to use rocks until we started calling them knives. And we run a security business, and there are a tremendous amount of what I call non-sexy businesses that are critical to make the world run that people are interested in that can do really well. Uh, and you don't have to go create, the next software that's going to change the way people play on their phones.
Yeah. Learning in the military, it's just, everything's a problem. We're just professional problem solvers. That's kind of what being an entrepreneur is. Everything's a problem. What's the solution? There is a solution. There's always one. Look at it from a different angle. Go around, look at it from the bottom. How do I look at it from a different angle? We're going to find the solution. It doesn't matter what the problem is. Like making a knife is just the thing. So it's fun how many different ways can we make a knife? How many different ways can we sell a knife? Everything is just a problem. How do you solve it? But being an entrepreneur is definitely not easy, but you've done harder things. So, yeah.
You just said that, how many ways can you make a knife? How many SKUs do you have right now?
I think we're at about 160, and that's all the different models and all their different color variations. I think we have 7 colors per model.
And who's designed all those?
We have a couple partners that designed a few of them, but overall I've designed almost all of them.
Talk about the materials that you use. So one of the things that's been really important to you is to maintain quality. And so, if we look back to the Special Operations Forces truths, people are more important than hardware. We talked about it. Quality is better than quantity. Number 2 on that list of 5. How are you maintaining quality through this process?
So we start with known good materials. So we use 1095 high carbon steel for all of our knives. So it's been around forever. It's going to take an absolute beating and it's going to hold an edge and it's easy to sharpen. It's also in the lower price point of steel, so we can work hard to keep our prices where we can afford them because we want to be able to afford our own knives. We don't want to charge $500 for one of our knives, but we have quality control checks all the way along the way. And then before they come from the building where they're all made and come over here, they go through a QC where somebody goes through every step of it. And then as we oil the knives, they're getting checked and looked over and checked for sharpness again. So we take a lot of steps to make sure everything's perfect. And then we have no issues kicking it back to, like, hey, this isn't good. The culture we're creating is, hey, if this knife isn't sharp, it's not an emotional event. It's either sharp or it's not sharp. It's just, if it's not sharp, we redo it. There's no finger pointing. If somebody makes a mistake, we find what happened. We don't make fun of you for it. How do we solve it? Okay, how do we prevent it from the next time? But you just have to take the emotions out of it. Hey, if the knife isn't sharp, it's not sharp. We had one guy get really mad because we kicked back some of the knives and he flipped out and quit. Like, they're not sharp. It either is sharp or it is not sharp. That's it. So that culture that we've worked really hard to build is everybody wants the best knife possible to come out of here. So if a knife gets kicked back to you to fix it, you're like, oh, okay, cool, no big deal. I know how to fix this. Is what we work really hard for.
I mean, this industry too is very competitive. I mean, I went to SHOT Show. I'd never been to a show that big. I never saw anything. I never saw more knives. I never saw more guns. And that's saying a lot, considering some of the places that we've been. So, how do you maintain a competitive advantage in a very, a very dominated market?
I would say relationships. I'm really big about helping everybody we meet and just being a good human. So by creating relationships like with the Green Beret Foundation, it's like you said, there's a million knives and I don't know, our knife isn't necessarily better than anybody else's, but we were able to make friends with everybody. Our friend connected us to Doug, who connected us to you guys, and it's just helping people. We're helping solve people's problems. We make friends with everybody. If I meet people that are starting a business, I connect them to if anybody that I know, and then that always ends up connecting to somebody else. And so just by helping people, it always comes back around. So we're big fans of just be a good human, and it always works out that way. I don't really know why we've been. Sometimes I look at that. Hey, if the knife industry is down 35%, why are we up a whole lot over that? Like, what are we doing different? I don't really know. I just be nice to people is about what it's come down to.
What's next for you guys? Where do we go from here? I mean, so this knife, the Green Beret Dagger, is coming out for release here in the next couple of weeks. There's going to be two versions. So we got the one version which we're looking at here, which is being fielded to the graduating classes from the Special Forces Qualification Course, but also can be bought by anyone who can prove that they are or were a Green Beret. So they can go to Green Beret Foundation, who's working with you to field and get these out to them. But there's going to be another version of this for the civilian market.
Yeah, so we're making, it's the same exact profile. It's not going to be Cerakoted. It's going to be our normal acid etch finish, like these knives back here on the board. And it's going to have a Ranger green handle, which is the color of the Green Beret. So it's going to be very similar, just different colors. And that'll be available for purchase by civilians or anybody. And most of the money from that's going to go to support the Green Beret Foundation. So those are going to be available through all of our distributors, all of our dealers, on our website, and on the Green Beret Foundation's website. So those will be easy to find, hopefully. And we're hoping to sell a whole bunch of those to raise a lot of money for you guys.
Oh, I hope that too. Yeah. Whatever we can do to help support that, we're all in on that effort. Where do you want to be in this with the company in 5 years?
Right here still. Having fun, making knives, hiring as many veterans and people from our community as we can. I think by continuing to collaborate with different companies and continuing to grow what we're doing, we're going to make it quite far. I think we're just getting started. So I don't have a big 5-year picture. It's really hard to forecast that. We're doing really well right now. So we just want to keep the momentum we have and continue to support our community.
Yeah. I love what you guys are doing and bringing veterans in. I mean, one of the biggest, I think, differentiators we have in my security company is we're very veteran centric, and we bring in veterans. The majority of our team are veterans, mostly out of special operations, because you got this mindset of we just got to get the job done. Yep. Whatever it takes, we just got to get the job done. And I think that's evident, when you walk around here, when you see the quality of what you guys are producing, when we look at the fact that, the conversations about this happened 4 months ago. And they're already fielded and in the hands of folks who are coming out of the course is really, really all about a willingness to solve the complex challenges like you talked about and get that job done.
They changed the design on us too about 4 weeks before the graduation. And the day they finalized the design, they said, "Oh yeah, and the next graduation is in less than 4 weeks."
So good luck.
So yeah, basically, good luck.
So what'd you do? Rally the team, put in the work, and get going.
Oh yeah, we made it happen.
Yeah, yeah, and it was super successful. I mean, we had folks who attended the event, and everyone we talked to who went said, it was awesome, and it's really brought back, I think, a very important aspect of what it means to be a Green Beret, and really close that chapter of the Special Forces Qualification Course. Just because you graduate the course doesn't mean that you're going to be a great Green Beret. And we tell this to guys all the time. You got a seat at the table now, but now you got to earn it every single day. But when you look back at your time in the course and what you've learned, how you've grown, how you've matured, and how you really start to embrace the ethos of the Special Forces Regiment, having this, in your hand when you walk away and you walk out of that regimental first formation and you look around, everyone's got it, and it's numbered and you signed for it. And yeah, there are many like it, but this will always be theirs. Is really, really impactful and sits with you for really the rest of your career and the rest of your life. So, Chris, I appreciate you spending some time with us. I appreciate what you've done for the regiment, what you've done for our fellow Green Berets, what you're doing for the Green Beret Foundation. We talk about leading the way and how the special operations is the tip of the spear. Well, you're setting the example for all of us.
Trying to. Thank you. It's a huge honor to be doing this.
We got great things to come. Thanks.
Yep.
American Jedburghs went on to form the foundation of the United States Special Forces and the Special Activities Directorate of the Central Intelligence Agency. Thanks for listening to the Jedburgh Podcast, an official program of the Green Beret Foundation. I'm your creator and host, Fran Rachopi. Join us next week for a new episode on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on YouTube for full episodes, highlights, and other long and short form content. If you like what you heard, give us a like and leave a review. Follow the Jedburgh Podcast and the Green Beret Foundation on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, or Threads. Send your comments and inquiries to fran@jedburghpodcast.com. As former members of Special Operations Forces, the Jedburgh Media Channel and the Green Beret Foundation remain committed to supporting all generations of U.S. Army Special Forces and their families. Thanks for joining us on this episode. How you prepare today determines success tomorrow.